And I'll just mention while we're waiting for people to join, in the chat is the invite to the hands-on session. So I thought this one might be nice to just have a webinar for some AI tools that might be helpful to any parents, caregivers, anyone who, who wants some of these AI tools. But then I wanted to have a session for adults and older teens with Down syndrome, that we're hosting. It'll be on July 26th from 4 to 5 p.m. And it's at that Frank Cooney company, which Peggy was so kind to get us the spot. And the registration link is in the chat, and it'll also be sent to you, I'm sure, as well.
And it's there's also an opportunity to register for a observer or caregiver. We just want to know who's going to be there, but they're not going to be able to be participants. The participation is for the teens and adults with Down syndrome. And there is a $5 fee. That's more of a just people tend to remember to participate in things that they've paid a little bit of money for. So um, it's nominal. Um, I did want to just, while we're again waiting for people to come in, I want to thank Annabel Hasty for offering to do this session for us. I think this is really timely for a lot of people. Annabelle actually saw our group at the climbing session at First Ascent in Arlington Heights about a month ago and approached Peggy and said, "Hey, I would love to do something with your group." And so this was completely initiated by Annabelle, and it shows kind of the power of being part of your community is that people who are also part of your community want to reach out and make the world better for everybody. Um, she's going to provide us tonight, I think, with a broad overview. Within the course of an hour, we're not going to be able to get into too many details. She is going to ask that you hold questions until she's going to offer opportunities throughout the night. If you want to put something in the chat as a placeholder for yourself, do that. But on behalf of Ups or Downs, I just want to welcome all of you and Annabelle here.
We're going to do a session called Demystifying AI for Everyday Use. And I'm excited to be here with all of you. My name's Annabel Hasty, and just a little bit about me before we get going. I'm the lead facilitator for Intel's AI for Workforce program. I work at Harper College during the evenings, where I'm an AI instructor and I'm helping develop the curriculum. They just passed a 2-year, 4-credit AI program, if anyone's interested in that. During the days, I teach at Quest Academy, where I teach children who are in kindergarten through 5th grade, and our school goes up to 8th grade as well. And then I'm a contributor and author at Ready AI, where I write children's books about data bias. So those are a few things. I also work for Harper Business Solutions. So if you're ever looking for somebody to just come out and do a session about, AI tools that can be used for a company, I do that as well. So just to get started, I just wanted you to take a look at where AI is today. So you can kind of see how realistic the eye is. I know through the Zoom call it doesn't quite have the same effect, but I just wanted to show you where AI is today, where it is hard to tell the difference between if something is real or if something is created by AI, which is also obviously causing a lot of ethical issues as well. So, what is artificial intelligence? It's the development of computer systems able to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and problem solving. So I'm not going to do a lot about, all the details of AI, how it works, machine learning, deep learning, all sorts of things. But I did just wanted to give you like a little bit of an overview. I'm actually going to San Francisco this week, and I'm going to go in a Waymo car. So those are driverless, self-driving cars that are on the road now in Arizona, California, lots of other states are starting to have them. We don't have them yet in Illinois. If you order something from Amazon and it arrives the next day, it's not magic. They're using these automated robots in their 24-hour, delivery places, and their automation is making it able so that you can get things almost immediately. It feels like I just order and then it arrives. Smart devices, many of you probably use in your home. This is another example of artificial intelligence. Whether it's heating, whether it's all sorts of lighting you can use with AI, lots of features that homes now have to just save energy. humanoid robots. And during the session we're going to do in person, I have a lot of different kinds of humanoid robots that we'll be interacting with as well. And then robotic surgery. Many surgeries are done. Recently, there was one not even done in the same country where the doctor was in another country and the robot was actually doing the surgery, but the doctor was controlling it. So fascinating stuff happening right now in our world. So you might be wondering, how can AI help me? Or you might be wondering, like, I don't think I've ever used this before. I'm a little nervous about it. I'm just here to hear what it even is. Wherever you're at, some of you might use it in your job every day, and you might know some of the tools that I don't use as much. So I know we've got a whole spread of people with different comfort level with AI, but I just wanted to talk about how you might be able to, as a parent, as a caregiver, as someone in the community, who works with somebody with Down syndrome. I wanted to give tools that might assist you every day. So AI can help to automate daily routines. You might use smart assistants like Google Assistant or Alexa to just set a schedule, like remind somebody to take medication or remind somebody like it's time to take a walk. And sometimes just having that reminder. Do any of you use, you can use that thumbs up button. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah. If you want to, feel free to use the thumbs up or just give me a thumbs up as we're going through too. But how many of you have just set a reminder and then, whether you're cooking or anything else, it's there and it's easy. And sometimes, as a caregiver, it might be useful for the person you're taking care of as well. It also, AI-powered apps like Mood Story, it allows individuals to enter their daily moods, which can be shared with the caregiver. I know as a parent myself, when I ask my teenagers, like, how was your day? I often get good and they walk away. Or why are you asking me? Or what's for dinner? Like they completely change the subject. You don't really get anything. And so some of these AI apps can be actually used to get more information just about how the day went when somebody doesn't want to talk directly to you. And then it can handle routine tasks and provide insights like care flow. So these are just some of the tools recommended for AI as a caregiver. But the ones that I'm going to focus on for a little bit here are some of my favorites. So you've probably used AI chatbots, but I'm guessing we might have a person or here who has heard about ChatGPT but hasn't really gotten into it or is hoping it goes away. But similar to how Google search, just, it's not going anywhere. It doesn't seem like chatbots are going away, so we might as well figure out what they are, what risks they have, and how we can utilize them. Okay, so the first one here is ChatGPT. It's from OpenAI, and it's the best for general AI assistance. We're going to try this one in just a moment, just so you can see a little bit about it, but I just wanted to give you an overview of chatbots because that's what's on everybody's mind. AI has actually been around since the 1950s, but it's only recently when generative AI became so powerful that now we use it every day. So DeepSeek is a famous one that right now, it just came out from China in this last year, and it's multilingual. Multilingual. It's also open source, so you can create your own apps from it much more easily than OpenAI. Gemini is the one from Google, and the reason that I think this one's going to get very big very quickly is because it uses the Google search and it's got strong reasoning. That whole, Google everything, it's going to be used in this Gemini search. So it's not yet as big as ChatGPT, but it's coming very quickly. And then Copilot. So Copilot is used for often anyone who uses Microsoft Suite. So in a lot of businesses, they use it because it integrates really nicely. As you're doing an Excel file, it might be like, you needed a formula for this? Let me try this formula. So it can be very useful that way. And then Claude, it's by Anthropic and it's ethical, thoughtful, and can help with safe conversations. So that might be helpful to you if you're using a lot of chatbots, but I know that some people haven't used chatbots at all. So I just wanted to jump over to a screen here. You can still see this one. You can see that ChatGPT screen. I just want to make sure, just unmute and let me know if, as I'm going through, anything is not working for you. Just let me know. But okay, so I'm here in ChatGPT. It is free, just so you know. And like I was using it the other day and I just used I didn't even log in. So if you don't like putting your login information into everything, you can use ChatGPT for free without logging in. So think of it as like, in incognito mode. It won't collect any of your data. It won't share that, that anything personal about you. And again, I recommend not putting personal information into ChatGPT. Even if you're using the paid version, I would recommend, using it for reference, using it for all sorts of things. I use it daily, but I don't put in a lot of personal information about me. I wouldn't put my kids' pictures in it, things like that. So just things to think about as you're using it as well. Okay, so let's get started. Here's some things you can do. Let's say, here's what it was originally made for. So write me an essay, sorry, about the Civil War. And I'm going to say, write me a 5 paragraph essay about the Civil War, and include 3 generals and some of the biggest battles. Okay, so this one you can kind of think of like somebody gave you an assignment and you needed to write this. This is a huge problem in education right now where students are just putting it in and getting a full essay written for them. And just like, so I can read you a sentence from it of what's happening as it writes this. And you saw it, just wrote it in seconds. The American Civil War, a defining conflict in U.S. history. The American Civil War, fought from 1861 to 1865, was a pivotal conflict that determined the future of the United States. So you can see I'm not going to read you my whole 5 paragraph essay, but it just gave it to me. Now, you can add things like you can say, write this as if a pirate wrote it. Okay, so it will just start and it'll say the Great War of the States of Pirates Tellin'. Arr, matey, let me spin ya a yarn. So it'll just change it up however you want it written. It will write it for you in that way. And I mean, you can see it just appears in seconds. It's got like a whole essay written. So I just wanted to present to you kind of what ChatGPT is. And again, you can use it free. You can try it out anytime. You can use it on your phone. Just letting you know if you or your young adult is interested in trying this, there's a lot of safe ways you can do it. You can also say, write me a haiku about going to the beach. And we're going to be trying this when I do the session in person. We'll be trying some different activities there as well, just so you know, it'll be hands-on. And I'm going to have, all the participants try things. Well, this one says, sunlight warms my skin, waves whisper soft lullabies. Sand clings to my soul. So again, it's just giving you a haiku. You can thumbs up it or thumbs down it. You can even ask it to regenerate. If you don't like the one that they gave you, it'll make another one for you right away as well. And there are other tools here where you can create an image. You can add in a file that you might have if you wanted to do that as well. So I didn't want to spend the whole time telling you all the things you could do. Hi, we've got some new participants here as well. But I just wanted to say that if you haven't tried out any AI chatbot, or if you tried it like 2 years ago and you were like, this is not for me, I just want to tell you that right now it has changed again and it is much easier to use. If you were someone who was like, I don't want a smartphone or I don't want to use Google search, and now you use them regularly, like I couldn't book my plane ticket without, going online. If you try to talk to somebody, it's nearly impossible now. I would just say give it a try again and see if you can get some of the things you're trying to do. I teach a lot of classes on productivity, like how to use it for businesses and how to use it for students every day, how to use all of these different AI tools. But the ones that I've kind of suggested for you today is ones that you can use with your young adult or adult at home who you are a caregiver for in different ways. So I just wanted to provide things that might be very helpful for you. So it's kind of going to be a quick like run through of different tools. And while I'm using these, feel free if you've got like a phone or you want to open another screen and try one of these. I tried to pick almost all free tools just so you could just get into it and try them right away. Okay, so I mentioned that I love Gemini, and I only love it because its search is so good. ChatGPT feels a little bit more like it's talking to me, but Gemini utilizes that Google search, and so you can use it if your young person is on social media what I found is that both young teens and, like as I was researching as well, sometimes people with Down syndrome, when they're trying to write a post online, and obviously not for everybody, but just as a suggestion, sometimes it's not in the same lingo as other people their age, or it's not said in the way that they want it to be said. And what Gemini can do for somebody is you can put in like, describe my day where sightseeing in Milwaukee. And you can put in three things that you did, and it'll write like a little blurb for you that you can add your picture with. And you can say, write in the style of a teenager, or write in this, using some of my work that you've seen before, write it in that style. And it'll give you a blurb for social media. Again, maybe that person's not using social media, but if they are and they are having a hard time writing posts, sometimes just the anxiety of it, like someone's going to see this, does this sound okay? And you're going back and forth on it. I don't know if it happens with the people you're with, but I know with my own teenage daughters, they're not quite using all of social media yet, but the few times they have posted, it was helpful. And here's some other examples. So the mainframe for Gemini is very easy to use. You can see it gives you suggestions. Give me ways to add certain foods to my diet. So sometimes just playing with Gemini, it's very easy to use and you can just jump into it right away. And then you can also tell it who you want it to be. Like you can say acting as as a professor or acting as a teenager, write at this. And so it also has like find hotels for a New Year's trip to San Francisco or draft an email to a recruiter to accept a job offer. So you can see just the examples they're giving you. And as you write that in 1 second, it'll just provide it for you. And you can see how that's a little bit different than a Google search. If you are going for a job, let's say, and let's say it was either at the grocery store, or let's say that you were going for a job as a secretarial position, or if you were going into a job, any sort of job, a lifeguard. So it can give you information about that specific company in seconds as well. That's one of the things I really like with Gemini or any of the other chatbots. You can say like research IBM as a company, give me three questions that I could ask in an interview. Tell me two things that have happened in the last 2 years that I should reference. And all of a sudden it's providing that for you. You can even say, what are some questions that you think are likely they're going to ask me? And then it'll provide some questions and you can practice that way as well. We talked about how ChatGPT can provide all sorts of, it can answer questions. Sometimes just playing with what question do you have today? Let's ask it a question. And starting that way is a nice way to try with ChatGPT or Gemini. Generate text formats. So if you even upload like a page from a book you're reading, and you can just say, like, give me a summary of that page, and it'll summarize it. If somebody's stuck as they're reading something, or if they're trying to get through like a large PDF or, a large article or things like that, you can say, summarize this or make this an easy to understand language. And in seconds, it'll do that as well. And you just upload the PDF and it'll do that for you. Other things, tell a joke. For the last year, I've kind of enjoyed seeing different people try to tell jokes with ChatGPT, and I found that kind of fascinating how it is able it kind of gives like burns, like it's like your picture makes you look, and then it'll like comment on your picture if you wanted to. I mean, just for interest, sometimes that's kind of fun. You can take a picture of your refrigerator and you can say, with the things I have in my refrigerator now, can you give me a recipe? And like you can have three items and it'll give you some suggestions for recipes as well. And we talked about how it could provide interview questions as well. And I just wanted to show you this one and then I'll pause for some questions here. But ChatGPT can now draw an image based on what it knows about you. So the reason why that's interesting is it takes all of the things that you've searched or anything that you've kind of looked at, and then it puts it together. It can know your dogs, the ages of your children, the kind of car you drive, or book you recently read, posters on the wall. It can do the kind of artwork you like, the flowers in your garden. I mean, if that's not creepy, I don't know what is. But I just wanted to say that if you simply say, draw an animated image of what you know about me, and you've used ChatGPT a whole bunch, it'll give you that kind of image. And sometimes it's spot on as well. So obviously it brings up the why do we want any kind of AI system to know this much about you. That is sort of the question and the dilemma we'll talk about here as well. But the truth is, it's out there. Whether or not you put in, tell me what you know about me, it knows that much about you. So that is just something to keep in mind as well. Okay, so before I go on here, I'm going to stop sharing and come on over to you. And if you want to put um, anything in the chat, feel free as well. And yes, did you want to add anything?
I,
Your
I have
turn.
just a question, and that is, is it possible to use these Gemini or ChatGPT to simplify tasks, to say, break down doing the laundry into simple steps, or break down how to take a shower, or those simple things that then is that something that's realistic?
Of course, I can even do one of those as an example coming up here. I'm just going to make a note. But breaking down tasks is something that is very useful. You can say, write it in a certain kind of language, like write it in easy to understand language. The process for, and it could be anything like organizing a folder. You know how sometimes like there's papers everywhere and you want it like organized. You can do it for what are the steps for even getting ready in the morning. Like sometimes it's just like I couldn't get my daughter out of bed this morning. She was supposed to go to cross country practice and like there was no getting her out. It didn't matter what I did. And so, like if you've got somebody who just that process is just, you keep getting stuck on the same thing, you can have it write it out as well. I'll give an example while you're thinking of
Or set
other
could you
questions.
get it to set a schedule? If I have to leave the house at 11, what time do I need to get up, shower, all that kind of stuff? It'll do that.
Oh
Kind
yeah.
of,
I mean, the more detail you add, and if you ever use, I'm in Gemini right now, but if you ever use a chatbot and you're finding it's not working for you, it's often that you're not writing incorrectly what it's looking for. So think of it as a large language model. It was originally made to do things like essays, poems, anything that you had in English class, and then it extended to like the Google search and anything that you can now search up or think of, and then it added in images and videos, and now it can like do anything. So enter a prompt. So let's say, write me a breakdown of how to get ready. I'll just say ready in the morning and include, if you write the things you wanted to include, that often gives it like that step by step. Include getting dressed,
taking medication, having breakfast, hygiene,
mhm,
all that stuff.
etc. And then I'll say, write it in easy to understand language. Okay, and then it'll give you like first you'll get a draft and it might not be what you're looking for. So the first one we get, think of your morning routine, wake up and get moving even a little, leave your bed. The first step is just to get out from under the covers, stretch, hydrate, optional, but good. Have a glass of water, it helps your insides. They've kind of tried to write it. Take your medication. So it's giving you this, and then you can even take this information we're going to talk about a little bit later. You can make it into visuals. Like I like little visuals as I'm going along with step by step. And I'm using the free version right now. But if you use a paid version of a lot of these, so it's got more get dressed, pick out your clothes, breakfast and last checks. And then it says that's it. If it's missing a step, like you're like, oh, wait, every morning we have to make sure we water the plants. Or hey, we can't forget, the dog needs us to, take him on a little walk before we get going. You can add the specifics of your situation, or if because of dietary needs, like it has to be oatmeal with peanut butter that day, you can add that in and it'll actually put in so you can revise it and you can just say, write it again. But add, and you could say like add images to each one and add in, our dog Henry needs to be walked in the morning. So anything that you need to add, you can always add it in and it'll just write it for you again. So you can also say like make it a bullet pointed list, make it like number it from 1 to 5, make it large bold letters. Like you can really play with it and get it down to exactly what you wanted. But I just wanted to show you that as an example that you can just do in seconds. And sometimes that breakdown, I know for even me, when I've got like a huge task, I'll be like, what do I start with first? And it'll like just walk me through the steps. It's helped me to get like not so overwhelmed when I've got a whole bunch to do. So,
I can the clarifying complicated language is really something that I've used it for. My neighbor asked me about a downspout regulation, from our village, and she sent me all this language. I was like, I think I know what this means, but I put it into Gemini. It said, simplify this for me. And it did it. And when I
Makes
read
it
the explanation and compared it to the regulation, it completely made sense. And so, yeah, it's really, really remarkable.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And there's great uses too. Like if you're trying to write a letter to Village Hall, maybe something's not up to regulation or it's making it difficult for your young person. You can also use it for like, help me draft a letter to the city council about A, B, or C, or maybe a service dog or whatever, the topic is. And it'll help you write a letter. Maybe that's something you don't do every day, but you feel passionate about it. It can also be very helpful for writing letters. Okay, well, feel free to pop any questions in the chat, but I'm going to keep going because I've got like a lot of content, and I figure everyone's got different situations at home, right? The ages of your young person, the experiences you're having, whether they have a job or whether they're home, they might be studying. So wherever you're at, I tried to have a few examples that might be helpful to you. And if I didn't provide examples that were helpful, you can let me know, and I can follow up with a few things that might be helpful. So Canva is a tool that is free to use. And if you haven't used Canva, I would recommend it. It could be really great for you for making things like graphics, making things like posters, signs, even if you need them in your house. But like they're very well made. I don't have any artistic ability at all, really, and I can write a great prompt. And people are always like, "How do you make such amazing posters?" Like I'll do our field day at school, or for the professors, like I'll create visuals that they might need for their classes. And I have no artistic abilities, but I'm great at writing a prompt. So that's what I just wanted to talk to you about. So there's this thing called Magic Studio, and I use Canva like every week for different things that I'm creating. So I just wanted to show it to you here. Let me just move this over 1 second and pull out my Canva. Okay, so I just created a blank document here in Canva. And if you have never gone to it, I'm just going to open it because I know sometimes um, I like show a lot of tools and it might get overwhelming. But Canva is just, if you put in canva.com into any search engine, it takes like a minute to open an account. But then once you're in it, you can start creating designs. So the one that I wanted to recommend is this one called Magic Media. And the reason that I'm going to use this one, and you get like a free one or two every day. And so I'm just going to say, create a raccoon by a, I don't even have to say create. I'm just going to say a raccoon by a lake with a red hat playing with a blue ball. So again, I'm just trying to get an image here that I'm using the image generator tool. It's called Magic Media, and it's one that's kind of fun to try out. So it's going to create for me this raccoon by a lake with a red hat playing with a blue ball, and you can choose the style. You can see down here it's got like all of these different styles. So I'm going to make mine like a little bit realistic looking, and then I'm going to go ahead and just press generate. And if you've used it that day, like you only, in this program, you only get like one free one a day. But I like Canva because it's a safe environment. It's used in education. You don't have to worry about it like pulling in really inappropriate pictures or anything like that. Oh, goodness. I went into a different one and it gave me a synthetic forest with glowing fungus and plants and flowers, which was not what I wanted. I was doing the raccoon one, but then I was chatting away with all of you, and now I kind of like this anyway. So let's say that that was mine. It would give me my beautiful raccoon. I think I've got one more credit, so I'll try that one next. But I'll use this one since it thinks that that's what I wanted. Uh, and you can just see that I'm putting it onto like a page right here. And what I found is very helpful as well is many people don't just want an image, but immediately you want also maybe like the words that go with it. You want the text that comes along with all of it as well. Let me just go back here and see if I can have the raccoon one. So maybe I'll get one. Raccoon by a lake with a red hat and a blue ball. It may say that now you've used your free one for the day. I'll see if it's going to give me that one as well and use that one instead. And you can see it takes like about a minute for it to generate. In the past, that would take like months to get something like this. And then here, I'm going to get rid of the fungus and I'm going to put in my raccoon right here which is just what I was thinking. And you can imagine that this might be very useful for like a story you might be writing. It might be useful for just a visual, like somebody might tell you like their dream a little bit. And then you might want to, or like something they're scared of. Sometimes, like, I'm really scared about like going in this bus, and I think that this might happen. And sometimes, if you make a visual or you talk it through with somebody, it can just make it like a lot easier to use. So that was just one idea. And then you can add text right to it as well. I'll just say add a heading, first day on the job. Okay, so just something that, is easy to use. You can print that up, no problem. You can share it just as a PDF. I just wanted to show you this program because I use it all the time. It's a great use of AI and it's free. So if that's something that you might want, or you want a safe way to kind of start working with AI, this program, Canva, is the way to go. The free version still gives you one every day that you can create. I got two that day, but okay, I'm going to keep moving because I know there are lots of other tools that might be helpful to you. This one's about language translation, software application that uses algorithms and AI to automatically convert text from one language to another. So if your young person or young adult is interested in learning another language, or if they're traveling and they want to translate it anyway, this might be very useful. Some examples are Google Translate, which you've probably used on your phone. It used to not be that great, and it's so much better now. So if you haven't used it in a while, that might be a fun one to try. Duo Max. It's like you get if you've ever used Duolingo, it now has an AI bot that will teach you which words you need to improve on. I've actually got a language translation robot right here that you can actually, it'll, help you with pronunciation and things like that. It'll tell you a story in another language. Wordly and Microsoft Translator is actually the best one right now. If you are doing like a Teams meeting and you want to transcribe it, it's got all of these capabilities that are AI capabilities. It'll give you a printout of the whole meeting. So let's say that your young adult had an important meeting, but you weren't sure like if they were going to get all the content, or they might want to review it later and they didn't have time to write it all down. You can actually use that transcribe function. It can do it in multiple language, and it's very useful to come right in your email when you finish. I know even this meeting is being transcribed right now as well. So I wanted to take a moment here to just talk about privacy concerns. So privacy is the protection of personal data and information in the context of AI systems. So AI makes sensitive information more accessible to a wider audience than intended, and AI technologies invade personal space, often through surveillance methods. So you can see kind of these concerns that arise very quickly, which is another reason that I don't recommend like uploading anything like with HIPAA violate, anything like with medical context. I wouldn't like put in, any kind of medical files. Legal, I wouldn't put in anything like tax documents or anything. Don't put those online. Credit card information, you don't need to put that into, when it's asking you a question like, tell me more, don't start putting in all of your personal information. So just keep that in mind, especially ChatGPT. It's like open and it's using the things that you provide it with. If you do the paid version, it's better, but it's still not amazing. The one that I do recommend is the paid version of Copilot, because you're using the whole Microsoft suite that is only used for you. It will not share that with any other company, and they market themselves on that. However, a lot of people find it slower and clunkier because it has all these restrictions. So, if you want to use it more like for reference, use the free version of ChatGPT. I'm not saying not to use it. I'm just saying be careful on the information you put in there. Data bias is the next thing to know about. So this occurs when data or information is limited in some ways, painting an inaccurate representation of the population, or does not tell the full story. I'll just pause here to tell you a quick story where a lawyer actually used ChatGPT to try to win a case, and it hallucinated. It just gave like a story that had never actually happened, and the lawyer actually lost the case. So you have to be careful when you're using AI, because if it doesn't know something, it makes it up. It doesn't say, I don't have the answer to that. Sometimes it will, but a lot of times it'll just say, to keep this conversation going, I know, here's some facts, and they never even happen. So it is important if you're doing a research article or if you're using it in some format that you do check the information. Another one is if you ask AI to give you the next person for your company, what does this person look like? Give me a full profile. It'll choose like a white male in their like 30s to 40s, and like that's who they say like should be your next person for a company. So it's got this bias in there based on societal bias, and it's using the data and then it's spitting that back out to you. So it's just something to be really careful about when you're using AI as well. Obviously, they're trying to work on it and make it better, but there's still that problem in AI, definitely. So this one's from the McKinsey report, and I just found it very fascinating. This is for all of us. And it just says over the next 3 years, 92% of companies plan to increase their AI investments. AI is expected to replace over 400 million jobs globally by 2030. Many jobs will be automated and multiple fields will be affected, including software developers, data analysts, financial reporting, and customer service. So, as you're thinking about jobs, as you're thinking about like, what is my young adult going to be doing in the future and things like that, it is something to keep in mind that there's this huge shift to AI as well. And there's lots of possibilities in the field as well. So I've got a question here, and I just stopped the sharing just so I can come over and get a few questions here. But it says, usually a person can tell when someone has used AI for creating an image. Can people also tell when a story, email, or letter has been written by AI? Great question. In the past, it was so easy to tell whether it was an image, whether it was a story, an article. You'd probably be surprised to know that much of what you see now online in advertising, even in images, it's being created by AI. They're not always telling you. The US has like no restrictions on AI at all. Europe passed lots of restrictions about what's allowed to be used, but the US has, it's like the wild, wild west of AI, and you can just use anything not credited, like just be like, I made this, and I didn't make that raccoon with the ball and the red hat. All I did is put in the prompt, and it gave me like a really cool image of something I was looking for. So, number one, no, it's very difficult to tell if it was written by AI or not. There are a lot of, ways that you can, these AI detectors, but you have to be careful with them because they're not 100% accurate. So if you accuse somebody of using AI, like in education, you cheated on this assignment, you used AI. Now, if it says at the top, this was created with a large language model, yeah, and people do turn those in all the time to history classes and things like that. But the quality of it has gotten so good that people like programmers, they're now using AI instead of like high level programmers. It's like writing agendas for meetings. It's like doing all sorts of things that in the past it definitely could not. So that's just something to think about as well. And I was gonna go back, oh yeah, to here. I wanted to show you one. We were talking about just kind of images, and let me just open this real quick. This is called Sora. It's by OpenAI, and I know that through the Zoom call it's going to be like a little spotty, but if you actually go to Sora, Sora, you can just see these images firsthand, and I'll just click on this one real quick. This is a bear eating sushi. And the graphics are just kind of phenomenal, like on how it can do that. And you can put in your prompt, and it'll just create the images for you. So I just wanted to show you that as like an interesting way that you can get these images. And again, if you start looking at your advertisements, some of them aren't real people. They're AI generated, and you can't even tell the difference. So we are in this weird new world where nobody has to tell you that they used AI, and you can't, with your naked eye, tell the difference anymore. Even experts can't tell the difference. So it's very frustrating. In some other countries, you have to put a watermark, or like the whole New York Times said you can't use anything from the New York Times in AI. But then it's hard to catch people doing that or companies doing that. And so it's a really tricky situation right now. But any questions? I just wanted to pause before I went on into the next section. Any thoughts or things that you found that you might use as well? Feel free to pop those into the chat. Sometimes hearing somebody talk about something gives you different ideas on what you could use it for. And so I'd love to hear if there's any tool from AI chatbots to translators, transcriptions, videos, AI generated images, posters, any of those that you could see a use for. Feel free to share. It's fine if you're just kind of thinking about it, but if you've got one you'd like to share with us, I'd love to hear if it's just generating any ideas for you as well. Or maybe it's terrifying you and you're like, this is something I'll never use. Thanks for letting me know all the warning signs and I'm out. But regardless, it is around us all the time. So I did want to bring it to you. And while you're thinking, I just did want to show you this is one of the robots we'll be using during the session that I'll be doing coming up soon in July. And if you just joined, it is in the chat at the top on July 26th. I'll be doing a session that's all hands-on for adults and older teens with Down syndrome. So one of the reasons that I like this robot is you can use it you can control it using an iPad, and then it can actually identify different faces. So you can program in the different faces of people, and it will actually tell the difference between who they are. And it'll be like, "Hello, Michael," and just a really neat use of AI and image recognition. So we'll be playing with that one. We'll be trying out some of the different AI chatbots, just so you know what's coming in that session. And I've got some helpers as well. My daughter will come in, her friends coming, and we will. They're used to working with robotics of people of all different ages, and so they'll get to ask a lot of questions as well as we go through. So I just wanted to present that as well. And I'll just pause here for any questions before I jump to my final section in this as well. So anything that you're curious about, I will show you while we're here. This one is it's supposed to be like an AI pet. So you can actually, it kind of acts like a dog and it like will bark and it will kind of jump around and everything as well. So they're creating kind of, how people have therapy dogs and it's a lot of work, like taking care of a dog or, a pet, and you might not want that. These ones are sometimes a lot easier and you can have full conversations with them. They'll provide support. Sometimes they'll like sing you songs to go to bed. Just I mean, depending on what the needs are, or if there's a lot of anxiety or things like that, it can help in certain ways as well. Okay, I don't see any questions. I know I talk a lot. And here we've got a question. Can you get medical information? Nancy, can you tell me a little bit more about the question? That's a great question about kind of the medical side, but I'm just curious, in what way can you get the medical?
I mean, there's a meta-analysis that people do, doctors and physicians and medical researchers do, where they analyze medical information from across a lot of different research. So that was one thing that popped into my mind. Can they do a meta-analysis? But the other thing is, my child has apraxia and it came on suddenly. Is there research around that? And that would be help, or what research is out there around that and
Oh, yeah. I
that
mean,
kind of
that's
thing.
a great question. Just thinking it through as well. You can get a lot of information on ChatGPT. The thing to remember is that it's not quoting its sources. And so sometimes it'll provide inaccurate information. So if you're going for something medical, I would go for like a journal or, your medical professional. If you want to just see like some ideas about it, like, you could actually go into here right now. So I'm in ChatGPT and let's say we were asking, and I'll just use a more generic one. So like, tell me about, I'm going to put in shingles. And what do I need to do to avoid getting Okay, and you can like just put in any kind of topic and it'll just spit out, get vaccinated, boost your immune system, avoid contact with infected blisters. It's going to give you like a little blurb about it. And there's other ones. There's actually one called Notebook LM. And that one is better because ChatGPT, when it doesn't know something, will just make it up. But Google LM, you can actually tell it which sources you wanted to use, and then say, you only use the American Medical Association journal and only use the information that's come out in the last 3 years from, the American Pediatric Society. And, like you can put in different things and then it'll only spit out information from then. And you can say, make it easy to understand. And for you, even like it'll take that whole medical context and it'll make it easier. So, again, I always say go with your medical professional on anything, especially if you're looking for diagnoses, if you're looking for medication, things like that. But if you're just looking for like, like I've got a weird, like rash here and I want to know why, is it from this bug bite? Like what are some signs or symptoms? Sure, like a reference, it can be great for, but I wouldn't use it as the end all be all. It definitely makes things up left and right. The makers of it, you have to like agree to the knowledge that it is just going to make things up when it doesn't know it. So I wouldn't use it for my own medical anything with me or my children because, it's not always accurate. And then even trying to figure that out can be very tricky as well. But on that same note, it can be useful for things like data. So if you are, I'm trying to share my screen here. Let me make sure it goes through. I think it's coming. I'll give it just a second to pop up here. All right, I think it's there. So AI can provide real-time health data. So that's the way that I would actually recommend doing it. It can monitor vital signs, provide data on sleep patterns. Many of you might have Apple Watches. So those are wearable devices that use a lot of AI. They've got alerts on health issues. So, if it's doing blood pressure or if it's checking, your different kind of intake, it can help and give you alerts. Um, there are ambient sensors in a program called Cherish Serenity, and there are analytics from platforms like Sensi.ai. So these are programs made specifically for medical reasons, and they integrate AI. So those might be the way to go on the health side that are safe, that are, providing you with actual real-time data, which in the past, you'd have to make an appointment, sometimes with a specialist. As many of you probably know, it can take months to get in, and this can provide at least that data that you can provide to your specialist. Like, okay, here were the sleep patterns, here were, alerts that I got. I'm providing you all this data. So that would be maybe a better way to go about it as well. And then moving here, you can help your child or young adult gain comfort with these different AI tools by first trying them yourself or saying like, let's sit down and try this activity. And there are some that are just like fun to play with. So, just saying like, we're going to give this a try, not being like, there are all these things you need to worry about. Here is like, it doesn't even work well, like just coming in kind of fresh and being like, let's first try it. And now let's talk about what we need to be careful using it for. Kind of just like the same idea of social media where you want to be like, you don't want to get addicted to it. You want to be careful of certain sites. You want to be careful about what information you provide, but helping them kind of see the benefits of it and then also understanding like what you need to be careful of. I'm going to come back over to you this way to see if I've got any other questions here. Otherwise, I've got a couple other demos that I do want to show you here. But is there anything that you were hoping that I might touch on that I haven't covered? I would love to hear if you've got any, anything with AI that's come up and you're like, hey, I'd love to hear more about this. Feel
I've just
free.
got a question if possible.
Of course.
So I plugged in on ChatGPT while we've been talking
Okay.
about asking it to write me like an article about an athlete and someone in particular. And it did it, but a lot of the information is wrong. So, how
Okay.
often, it's like, so how careful do we need to be? Like, do you use it more as like the basis, and then you have to go back and do the research to make sure it's actually accurate? Um,
No, you can provide it. You can tell it where to look. So what it's doing when it's doing
okay.
something like an athlete is it's trying to push. Sometimes it is pulling real information. Sometimes it's not making it up. You know how when you look online and people talk about all sorts of nonsense from fake news to like social media posts where you're like, that's just wrong. It is pulling that in as well when it's providing you the
Okay.
information. So that's part of the problem. It's what other people have put in there and searched. It's dragging that, even gossip, like, like Simone Biles is pregnant. She's not. Like, stop saying it, but
Okay.
it's seen it so many times that then it's kind of that like data bias problem. It's pulling in the data that so many people have said, even though it's completely not true. So,
Okay.
another way to do it is like use these three journals and give me information based on that, or based only on athletic, like athletic journals or academic sources provide this.
Okay.
And then you can even take that information, put it into another chatbot, just copy and paste it and say which areas are incorrect or which ones are not factual. If you say provide only a factual and provide documentation on which areas, what articles you used, it'll give you which articles and then it won't make up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All
So
right.
that's
Thank you.
one. Yeah, and you have to play with it quite a bit. And again, if it is for your job or if it is for something legal or
Right.
medical, don't be like, this is great. I created this. Um, Also, slideshows and presentations. I left that out because it didn't really apply to like caregivers and things, but for the rest of you as well, if you are looking to create like a very easy to use slide deck, I was just going to show you real quick. There's a program called Gamma. You can do it in lots of programs now as well, but I'm just going to show you this one. Let me just get it open and then I'll share my screen here with you. And again, free program. They do have paid, upgrades to it, but I'm just going to show you here is the paid one. Let me see if it's signing in. 1 second. I've got a lot of things open. Okay, I'm going to just try to continue with Google here and see if that goes through. Continue. And then I should be in to a program called Gamma. Now, the reason that I like this one, let's say it's just for personal use, and I am going to be a creator. So again, these programs have a lot of questions often that they'll ask you at the beginning. You can just kind of fly through those. And then once you're into the program, then it will allow you to, okay, so I'm going to generate. And I want a whole slide deck created, and I'm going to say create a slideshow about, let's say, the latest health trends and add dynamic images. Okay. So again, this program's called Gamma. It is free. You saw me open an account right there. It only took a few seconds because I've used it with different accounts. And I asked for a slideshow about latest health trends. So it's talking about functional nutrition. It's talking about mental health and stress. So this doesn't look very great. It looks like just a slide deck. But again, I didn't write any of this. I only wrote the prompt. And then I say generate, and it does take a few seconds because the quality of these Gamma presentations are so great that, and I don't know how this one's going to come. It's creating its own. Every person that puts in this prompt will get a little bit different presentation. And that's one of the interesting things about this as well, is just the way that it personalizes it to you. This one's about personalized training. Each one will have an image. I'm just going to scroll up while it's doing this. I mean, I even if I tried, I wouldn't be able to like create this kind of imagery or this kind of layout. And here's, just in seconds, again, it's free and it's just giving me different trends with different, very, I said dynamic pictures and it really, I thought, did a pretty good job. Sustainable and ethical health practices, holistic lifestyle changes. Now, whether I agree with these or not, that's besides the point right here. I'm just showing you how to make a slideshow using this program called Gamma. So maybe take that or leave it, but very fun to play with. Like if somebody's very passionate about space, or if they really want to show you things about the ocean, you can say, let's make a quick slide deck about that. So that might be a way to use it as well. Okay, so now I've covered all sorts of tools. I know that I probably missed some topics that you were hoping to kind of hear about as well, but I just did want to, give multiple different topics that might apply. The tools are fun to play with, especially if you're using it for non-job related, non-technical reasons, and you're just trying to find out more. There's also lots of games in a program called Experiments with Google. And that one can be a lot of fun to, like, it'll ask you a question and then you can answer it, or it'll give you a picture and you try and guess what it is before AI can. We're going to play some of those on the hands-on session that I'll be doing later in July. So, any last questions? We only have a few minutes left here, and I know we wanted to leave some time to make sure you could sign up for the hands-on event if you're interested in that. If you're interested in learning more, we offer classes at Harper College. There are both free courses that are just evening courses or, full in-person 4 credit classes. So if that's of interest to you, and then if you have further questions, you can always reach out to me as well. I'll just put my email up here and we'll be sharing this slide deck with you as well. Let me just jump over to it here and make sure that I share my contact information with you, because often when I do a presentation, like whoever I do it for, there is a certain question that maybe you don't want to ask in front of everybody else, but it would be really helpful to know. Or maybe the question comes to you like the next day. And so if that happens, feel free to just email me. Here is just my personal account, and you can just send me an email, and I would be happy to answer. I don't know the answers to everything, but I'm pretty good at finding where you could get the answer to it, and I'll let you know right away if I don't have experience with that. So let me just know if you wanted to. I see we got great, some thank yous in there. Appreciate it. And yeah, reach out, contact me if you have any other questions. Terry, anything you wanted to add?
I just wanted to say thank you for this really great resourceful overview. There's a lot of information here. I know I'm going to be, checking them all out. We have recorded the webinar tonight, and I believe AI is going to be generating a summary of it.
Great.
I will share both of those things with everyone who registered. I know we had 27 or 28 people registered, and there weren't that many people that were actually able to join us. So I know life gets in the way. So I'll be sharing that. And if we have additional questions or there's more interest, I'm hoping maybe we can maybe drill down and do this again. If I know your time is more available in the summer, maybe we could do something again this summer if there's adequate interest, or if there's something we want to focus on, but somebody has some ideas about how to nitty gritty of how to's rather than this broad overview. But really, thank you very much. It's been very enlightening. Again, does anybody have any questions or any other closing thoughts?
I appreciate it.
All right, we really appreciate your time. I want to double check. There's some things popping in the chats, but it's just our gratitude for you and your time.
Of course, thank you, and I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing some of you and all the participants coming up in July.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, have a wonderful
All right,
evening.
you get to end the meeting because you're the host now.